So we've got a new aquarium which we're going to set up here, but a couple of things to be aware of to move the fish into the new tank. It would be preferable if the new tank can be completely set up first and be all ready and tested and good to go. Now, when you're removing fish out of a tank like this, it is possible that over a period of time, you form anoxic bacteria through the back of the reef. If you have anoxic bacteria forming through the back of the reef, where oxygen is not able to get underneath the rocks, then if you move these rocks and you're unlucky, it is possible that hydrogen sulfide is released. Now, if hydrogen sulfide is released, if you are unlucky, you could lose your fish, or the hydrogen sulfide could damage the fish, so therefore over the next period of weeks, those fish could actually die. And it is something that has happened to me. So it is something that you would have to be unlucky for this to occur, but it is something that can occur. The two things that I would recommend doing as a guard against this would be to put some aquarium detox in the water a month before you do the change. Now, in a situation like this, and we're not in a huge hurry to get this job done, so we add some aquarium detox now, then next month we do the swap over. That way we'd be safe. Also, putting polyfilter in will help to remove the hydrogen sulfide. Now, the other things that we want to be aware of during this exchange is we want to know the temperature of this water and make sure the temperature of the new tank is the same. We also need to know the salinity of this water, and we want to make sure the new tank is slightly lower than the old tank. Fish handle going down in salinity, no problem. They do not handle going up in salinity. So anytime that you're moving your fish, you really want to introduce the new fish to lower salinity, not higher salinity. Now, because this new tank is going to be not in a rush, the other thing they could consider doing is setting the new tank up, getting it running, and maybe even adding some new fish to the new tank for a month before these fish go in. Because these fish may be quite territorial and would be more accepting of new fish straight away. Once they establish their territory and are familiar with each other, then the territoriality will be more significant. So that's just another consideration. So when you're going to put new fish in to the tank, assuming we're now talking about the new tank, we want to drop the salinity. We want to introduce the new fish. If we're happy with the fish, we then slowly raise the salinity again. In a perfect world, we could keep this as a quarantine tank. Therefore, any salinity adjustments can be made in this tank before it goes into the main tank. But if that isn't going to be the case, what we don't want to do is allow the fish to come from the shop, which is probably going to run about 0.020. And the shop's fish come from the wholesalers that generally run about 1.7 or somewhere around there. So we don't want to let the fish go up too high in salinity too fast. Otherwise, we have osmotic problems, and then the fish end up cracking out with white spot or immune system failure of some description. So avoiding fish going to high salinity is paramount. The other thing that's super important is that whenever we introduce fish to a new system, under no circumstance do we want new fish being added for a month. We want to add some fish, we want to wait a full month, then we can add some more fish, then we want to wait a full month. Now, the other thing that we've done in this tank is we've just changed the circulation. So in this case, we have a small power head, which was running that way, so therefore creating counter currents against the outlet. And then we were getting a lot of film building up on the surface. Now, if we keep these vents nice and clean, and then we've got your power head shooting that way, we've got this shooting that way, it means that we're going to pick up what's called kinetic energy. And kinetic energy is where you're able to use the movement of the water to create the movement of the water. And in this case, it should come around, and then any sediment should happily go down the weir into the filter. So that's just another small adjustment that we've made. Anyway, here's just some things to consider before moving your fish into another tank. And if you've got any tips to add to this, then put a little note at the bottom of this video.